Welcome to part B of week 7. Right now we're going to talk about ethics as it relates to marketing. Some people think that ethics doesn't relate to marketing. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. The tools that you acquire in using marketing, working with me this semester, are like tools that you might acquire for accounting, finance, operations. They could be used ethically. They could be used in an unethical way. It is really up to you. Before we go too much further, don't forget that this is a two-part lecture. There's also part A, a much longer PowerPoint deck, talking about one of my favorite topics, promotions. I did not make a movie out of that. One reason is because it's so long, and another because part A is filled with hyperlinks, and hyperlinks don't seem to work when you're using this particular program. So after you're done watching this, remember to go back to part A. Let's now talk a little bit about crisis management. Yes, Tiger Woods, you're not the first athlete to get involved in a crisis. You certainly won't be the last one. I just like using this picture. I think you'll agree after taking a look at this slide that the concepts of ethics in marketing and in business and the concepts of crisis management are pretty closely related. Now, you're too young to remember this particular crisis, but during my freshman year in college, the Walgreens on the north side of Chicago, not too far from my dormitory, was housing poisoned Tylenol. This was back in 1982, and if you are aware of this case, it might be because someone told you about it or because you looked at a case study. This is one of the most famous examples of crisis management ever. As you can see from the slide, there was a Tylenol poison scare in 82, and there was another one almost 30 years later in 2010. And take a look at the two different ways the same company handled the crisis. The 1982 example created, as it says, a best practice for business schools and for businesses for years to come. The second example, not so much. Tylenol, in this case, wanted to hide the crisis. They wanted nobody to know what was going on. And they gained scorn from the industry because of that particular kind of behavior. Part of the lesson here, as my good friends Calvin and Hobbes are illustrating, is that in a crisis, you have to be transparent. You need to make sure that you and your actions and your leadership are visible to those above you and below you, inside and outside of the company. If you focus your mission for solving a crisis around the core of respect for your customers, respect for your clients, and respect for all your constituents, you'll be in better shape than if you try to evade the issue or put the customers behind the profit motive. Also, respect the media and their role. They're just trying to report the news. Ideally, sometimes they want to go beyond that, but they could be working with you to disseminate important information. Stay in front of the issue. What actions have to be taken immediately? Get that tiger out of the hole. What are the implications? Is the truth really worse than a lie? And is a lie better than the consequences of lying? Consider all the parties involved, who has what to lose, and remain a good corporate citizen. Now, on the issue of ethics and advertising and ethics and marketing, there's a lot you can read. There are a lot of examples every day of behaviors that you may consider to be particularly unethical. But there are entities that use marketing as a force of good. When I'm asked what does good marketing mean, good marketing means that through marketing, you've solved a customer problem, ideally in a way that they couldn't solve before. What's important to keep in mind also is that the ethics code regarding our advertising is generally meant not to protect the consumer, but to protect competition. And that's why ethics tend not to be enforced proactively, as it says. A complaint has to be made before any kind of action would be taken. Now, remember this ad from part A of our lecture. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. I want to talk to you for a moment about the topic of subliminal advertising. So look at this message. Now, little background information. Do you realize that roughly 10% of the male population is colorblind, has some sort of chromatic deficiency? Now, I'm one of those people. I don't see the world in black and white like a dog might, but let's just say my box of crayons only has 16, while your box of crayons might have 64. It's also why I wear rather muted colors. If you've ever had a chance to take a look at me, I do have some trouble distinguishing certain colors from each other, including green and red. Coincidentally, roughly 1/10 of 1% of the female population is colorblind. Just so happens my wife is a member of that group, and therefore my kids are too. But anyway, back to the topic at hand, subliminal advertising. Subliminal advertising is a lot of people's favorite topic. It's kind of fascinating to look for the pictures hidden within the ice cubes, to see if the word sex is written in the condensation on a beer bottle. Something like that. It happens. Creatives do it. It's really not meant to be a part of anybody's marketing strategy. There's also something called the mere exposure effect. That's a psychological phenomenon that suggests that seeing something like a face for only a split second makes you like it more than if you had never seen it. Mere exposure. Yet early studies on subliminal advertising have been disproven. And really, when you think about it, what is subliminal to an old man like me might be perfectly noticeable to a youngster like you. Now, another approach to what might be considered subliminal advertising involves using sounds that are audible only to younger people, like, for example, teenagers. So if there's a place that you don't want teenagers hanging around, you play this subaudible sound, audible to them, not audible to people older than them, in order to drive them away. Nothing like treating people like animals. Anyway, back to subliminal advertising. Why would you waste resources on something that your customer isn't really even supposed to notice? Well, now here's another perspective. Let's take a look at that ad one more time. Take a look at this ad for M&Ms. In the upper right-hand corner, it says, "What is it about the green ones?" This isn't the best copy of the ad. It's a little hard to read those letters. You can see what's behind it from an old issue of Sports Illustrated even better. But look at the M&Ms scattered on the table. Is there something subliminal going on? Well, one interesting phenomenon is that most undergrads think those are Skittles and not M&Ms. Talk about a branding crisis. I already told you that about 10% of the men in the world are colorblind, and about 1/10 of 10% of the women in the world are colorblind. These people may very well not notice anything interesting or unusual about the candy. Did you? Do you see a word written in the candy? I don't. Now, here's where I'm going to try to experiment with this video program that I'm using here. I'm going to try to point out the green M&Ms to you. So hang on tight for just a second. I need you to be with me on this one. So there we go. I'm now trying to point out the green M&Ms to you. If you see little flashes, what I'm trying to indicate is that I can see the green M&Ms. I think I'm doing pretty well. I've got my face mashed up against my iPad here as I'm trying to illustrate these. So I think I got a lot of the green M&Ms. They're just green M&Ms. I see the yellow ones. There's one. I see a blue one. There's another yellow one. Red. That's brown or black. I think that's blue. Yellow, black or brown. So what is it about the green ones? I don't know. Actually, I do know. The urban legend about green M&Ms is that they're aphrodisiacs, that you give the green M&Ms to your sweetie or somebody that you've got a crush on. Okay, I don't think there's any chemical element in the green food coloring that's used. But if you were relying on me to understand what it is about the green M&Ms, and they had a couple of ads like this in the series, I wouldn't know. Congratulations, M&Ms. Then again, most people your age don't know that urban legend either. So you might be looking at this ad and thinking, why in the world did they write the word sex in those green M&Ms? Now this ad is sort of a meta ad poking fun at subliminal advertising, but no matter how you slice it, this ad doesn't seem to be working. Of course, there is a lot more about subliminal advertising and marketing ethics in your textbook. Be sure you take a look at that. How do these issues concern Val? Well, her issues might be in terms of legalities. What can she do with all this beautiful music that she has mastered? Hey, next week is our last week. We're going to talk about execution and the implications. Your final project is due by midnight on Sunday, August 25th. During the week, keep up with your reading, keep moving forward, and I hope you will fall in love with marketing again. Hey, let me know what you think. Was this useful? Too long? Too short? Is this the kind of thing you would have liked to see more of throughout the semester? I look forward to your feedback. Thank you.